Either you are currently in contact with the person you care about, or if you get back in touch with him or her, your counterpart, your desired partner, the feeling you get is maybe he has already told you or will tell you. Just friendship. We are just friends, good friends. We know each other. Acquaintances, however he labels it, no matter what area it concerns. And you ask yourself, is it really true what he is telling me? Or has told me that nothing more can come of it, that it really is just friendship, that he doesn't have deeper feelings for you? And that's what we're going to look into now. Is it the truth? Or is there still something hidden, some kind of secret? Is there something lying dormant, something that's on his mind? Or is it really the case that he says, okay, you really are just a good friend to me, an acquaintance, and nothing more? Let's take a look. Dear ones, as you know, we're working with the collective. The character cards are gender neutral, and you always adapt them to fit your own situation. And I know you do this so wonderfully. Also, collective reading can't be 100% completely accurate. I know you take from it what fits your own situation. And I'm sending you all a heartfelt hug. A huge thank you to all of you for being here, for your kindness, your warmth in the community, and also towards me. I am so grateful to you for that. And, you can always submit questions for the collective reading in the community and in the comments at any time. And I always take all of your questions into account. We have this question again now in the collective, and it's really a pretty prominent question because I notice even in personal readings that this area comes up very often. Just friendship, right? And you don't get any further. You feel like you're just going in circles. And now let's take a look at what exactly we can see so that the spinning stops, because otherwise you eventually get dizzy and feel sick. Okay, let's check it out. Let's go. So what does it look like with your counterpart? We're going to look and divine our way through this energy with the cards. Do I want another one? So we have the stars. The stars. So here it means clarity. That's what it's about with your counterpart. Here it's about clarity. And it could be that he's still struggling a bit with that clarity, that he doesn't have it himself yet, but he's on the way there. For him, he may have always thought, everything is fine. I just want friendship. Everything is fine. Or I just want normal contact, or to see each other now and then. Maybe do one thing or another together. Maybe you two even have a friends with benefits situation, but for your special someone, this really means a lot. This is about more. So there's something here, something is simmering beneath the surface, something that's on his mind, but he shows you something different on the outside. But what I find fantastic here, right at the beginning, as a start to this reading, in this energy for the collective, is to see that something is touching him or her. Something that has to do with confidence, with wholeness, with clarity. Let's take a look. So, as I said, for him, this is about a lot. It's about more. And this is also the greatest card of happiness. And here, it's also about fulfillment. What does he want to fulfill for himself? What is this about? All right. Okay. Good. We have the coffin. We're at the statement you made or are making that, as I said, he only wants friendship. So nothing more, no relationship, just friendship. All right. But here it's not over yet, not at all, because it's being shown we have, this statement is based on the fact that something in him is at a standstill. No movement. Maybe he can't say anything yet. Maybe he's just at a crossroads, in the middle of a turning point. But he or she wants clarity and resolution. So that's what's being shown. Here it's about resolution, even if nothing is moving forward right now. That has to do with himself. And even if you say, okay, something is addressed here, there's no movement, absolutely nothing, maybe even no contact at all right now. But I already sense too much movement from the energy of the first cards to say, okay, we're staying in this standstill, because here it also means something is ending, something new is beginning. A phase, a chapter, some kind of change. One thing is closing and another is opening. Yes. And he himself or she herself is really in a kind of isolation for their own sake. Withdrawal regarding the topic, which might concern relationships, but here we're talking about friendship. And there is something that is really affecting him deeply. And as I said, we have movement here, clarity, fulfillment, completeness. And for him, it's as if he's about to cross the boundary here, but he's not quite sure yet how or what exactly is going on. And that's why withdrawal, standstill, but basically he or she is lonely, completely alone. Inside, he feels empty. But something is here. We also take a closer look at the timing because something is moving. So I also see some shorter term movements. What else do we have here now? We have a new beginning, transformation, change. So clearly, if you look at it this way, it's still in its infancy, but you can see growth here. Growth. And something is developing here because your loved one, your counterpart, also knows that something has to develop. He can't handle the standstill. He or she can't maintain it like this, but is still hesitating a little. And maybe he's also a bit awkward in this area, and that's why we're withdrawing and just being friends for now. Friendship, right? But inside, he's moving forward in small steps. We have movement, small steps moving forward. So what you see on the outside doesn't necessarily mean that's exactly how it is. You can't see what's going on inside the other person, no matter who it is, what's really happening there, what those background activities are inside, what is still hidden. And that's why you should never let yourself, if that's exactly what always throws you off track, be misled by the 3D world. That's always very important. So let's take a look at what else we can find out here. Well, let me put it this way. Internally, things are really intense for him or her. It's really a lot going on there. He's definitely not doing well. I can already tell you that. He's really stuck big time. It's like an engine failure, this being stuck. And not really knowing what he should actually do here. But something will come of it. I've got it lying here beautifully. I'll tell you in a moment what else is going to be shown here. Because he can't just leave it at that, leave it as it is. The standstill, yes, that's what's being shown. Okay, we have the standstill. But it doesn't just stay at a standstill because basically I have him or her completely unsettled. Yes, the uncertainty, maybe you asked him, how will things develop? How will things progress between the two of us, right? Do we want to take this further? Something like that? He knows, he feels it was about a relationship. You wanted the relationship. He knows that. Maybe you also told him about your feelings and he's totally, yes, almost in a state of shock because he can't handle it. It's too much. For him, you could really put together a package here with a breathing mask and an oxygen tent because he just can't cope with it. And he also can't handle the fact that he actually has stronger feelings for you than he kept telling himself or convincing himself he did. There's quite a lot of self-deception involved, And he's a person who leads with his heart. If, as I said, you are currently in contact on a friendship basis, or maybe you just see each other from time to time, so not that constant connection between the two of you, or even if you are in constant contact, it doesn't matter how, right? I can tell you what's going on inside him or her. And he told you, for now, just friendship or only friendship and nothing more. And that's, he also doesn't want to lose contact with you. That's what it is. He's really at a crossroads. And that's where the decision comes in. Decision making is the central focus for your loved one. And his uncertainty clearly shows you one thing on the outside, but inside something completely different is going on. So in that sense, he's really, really a good actor, because inside there's a lot going on with him. He's not happy. He actually can't really see happiness anymore. He knows he's been fooling himself this whole time. You might say, well, if he realizes or knows that there are feelings, why doesn't he say that he can reach out more to me? Or why doesn't he really take action, keeps withdrawing again and again, and keeps dragging everything out? For him, it's like this. He has an issue because he doesn't even know if he can truly make you completely happy, whether he can give you all of that, especially if you also see how he really is, right? I mean, deep down, right? Because you're smart. You've already scanned him. You can already read him completely just by seeing him, or even when he just writes you something. You sense so much more. But with him, it's more like, wow, if she really sees how I am, that I don't have some things under control at all. Maybe it's work, maybe it's his finances, or in general, that he maybe always lets himself be, influenced by the family, for example, that maybe he's more responsible for his mother, father, or whatever. And that he's not really the man, not really masculine. He thinks he's always shown you his masculinity. But I see you here that you've already seen through it, that there's something else behind it. And it's like this. He or she wants to have contact with you, says it's friendship or maybe even a friends with benefits situation, right? They tell you that, but it's just a pretense. It's just an act because, as I said, he absolutely doesn't want to lose contact with you. He wants to stay in touch with you. He just doesn't know how to make it happen. And here we really see the connection between the two of you through the foundation of friendship, so that everything becomes more stable and more intense. Even if you notice, okay, there was a lot of contact for a while, and then he pulls back again or starts texting differently, right? One day there were, I don't know, 20 messages and phone calls or even a meeting, and the next day, wow, complete silence, right? Maybe if you're lucky, you get 1 or 2 messages from him or her. Then you tell yourself, wow, no, I totally, I was completely deluded again. I let myself be fooled. But after this reading, I can tell you, no, you didn't. That's on his side. That's a wow, right? At this moment, you are like a real lucky star for him. That does him an incredible amount of good, and he really wants to spend time with you. But there are things you simply don't notice what's really going on with him, what kind of disaster he or she is stuck in. That's what it is. And that's where he has a major construction site. And that's his issue to deal with. It has nothing to do with you. Unless you come along and say, now another meeting and this and that, right? That's when he withdraws, because he says, whoa, this is just too much for me right now. I can't do it. That he feels like he's being put under pressure. But if you stay completely relaxed here, you can even smile about it, because, this is his mess to deal with. His insecurity, the inner restlessness. And we already have the Knight card here, which means things are really intense for him. Not that he's out partying hard, but that emotionally with his feelings, things really escalate for him in the evening, at night. I see him restless. I see him unsettled, nervous here. It could also be that he often wakes up at night, sweats, can't sleep, can't fall back asleep. Because I always see these interruptions in the evening hours at night, because so much is on his mind then, because deep down he wants more. He's not happy. He wants happiness, he wants change, he wants a big change, but he also doesn't want to disappoint you. So don't be hasty. With him, things really move slowly. He's honestly like a snail under the influence of Valerian. But it's very, very clear, this uncertainty. That's the thing, because as I said, his issues, he doesn't quite know how yet, because he first has to deal with all his own construction sites here. Finish them up, right? He will manage it. He's doing ITS completely in cleanup mode. And then, as I said, he keeps up this pretense of friendship so he doesn't lose contact with you. Especially because he's a bit of a rascal, since he always wants to keep an eye out, just in case someone else comes along and snatches you away, right? I mean, sure, I'll say this too. If you're thinking, okay, then I'll just make him jealous. So he finally gets moving. Based on this reading, I'm telling you, if you try to make him jealous, he'll completely shut down and disappear. Because in this reading, I don't see him as stable enough to say, okay, now I'm going all in, now I'm going to fight for this. Instead, he's more likely to say note, at least as I said, based on the current collective energy. He's thinking, okay, I knew I couldn't do it. I knew I wasn't good enough. I knew someone else looks better than me, right? Maybe they're more successful professionally. That's how I see him here. And then he completely sinks into this self-pity, and he says, okay, well, that's just how it is. And as I said, he will definitely keep in contact with you. So yes, definitely, for sure. And I keep seeing more and more stability between the two of you. More and more. And it will move towards stability. And I see an incredibly healthy foundation for both of you for a relationship. That's where you work or walk. That's exactly where you're headed. And here, after this reading, I still can't tell you whether it would directly develop into a committed life partnership. I always say everything the cards show, but here I don't see it 100% yet, because there's still this ooh. But the path toward it is being paved because basically that's what he actually wants as well. But whether you still want it, that's the second question, because here too he really doesn't know anymore if you even want it at all. That's the point. And it's as if he's approaching it very, very, very cautiously. But you'll notice it too, because there will be more and more warmth in your communication, more and more of that smile. When you look into his eyes, you'll see, wow, right? And such a loving look. And let me tell you, from what I see here, those looks, those loving glances, they say truly more than 1,000 words. Absolutely. Because that's how he shows it. And you'll also notice how he opens up more and more, becoming warmer as well. And yes, he'll keep coming up with new things too. He wants to stay in contact with you. And as I said, he wants happiness with you because he knows he can be happy with you. And really, it's still in its early stages. Yes, small steps, small movements, a new beginning. And by the way, we see change here again. And there's a lot happening. When I tell you the timing, MH, it means it's always like this, that you really have it. I can only ever tell you what comes from the collective, the present energy. But you always control the timing yourself. I can only give you a rough estimate, And that also means for you, don't put pressure on yourself. It has to happen now, must, every day that passes. And then, oh God, there are only a few days left, right? Then it feels like time has run out. And then the pressure comes, which creates counter pressure. So once again, we have a time delay here, right? But after this reading, I really see very fast movements now so that the development is really coming. Even if you have no contact, I see the contact between the two of you returning because now I see a lot of activity within him. A lot is starting to happen now, especially when it comes to change. A decision will be made and he will decide to intensify contact with you because the feeling of love is definitely there. And as I said, you will notice this in his looks or gestures. Yes, there is definitely movement. Right now, there is a lot going on inside him, but he doesn't show it outwardly. You might sense it, but you won't see it because he is still trying to keep it a secret. And yes, if we look further now, as I said, right now, I see that things are really starting to move again in terms of contact, even if it's just on a friendly level. That's really, really, really important, Do I have a day here, a week, a month, Something like that. It could also be a Saturday. That something happens on a Saturday. It could also be that maybe he doesn't actually invite you on Saturday, but that on Saturday something just totally clicks for him, and boom, right? So we've covered everything. All right, now let's go. That for him, it's a Saturday. It could also be something to do with a Saturday. But as I said, something is happening. So as I said, right now we have really current, very present energy, What I see here is immediate short time frames. And that's really a day, a week, a month, right? Okay? Dear ones. All right, wait a moment. We still have something left. We still have 2 cards left. Okay? Now we have the Scythe. Yes, like suddenly, unexpectedly, right? It's the burden, yes, but the breaking off from what keeps holding him back here, that will happen. That will be a quick break. As I said, we have a lot of fast movement here. And there will also be a quick ending. When I look at it as a whole, the quick ending of whatever has always held him back, of the inhibition to commit to something more solid with you, so that he can come into his self-confidence, into his self-assurance. Yes, right? So for him, it really is a burden. And he wants the friendship, he wants the contact with you. And as I said, something is happening there. For him, his situation is already causing him pain now. And as I said, that's the happiness, the lightness that you can feel again with you. And there's a bit of a risk of addiction, that he could become addicted to you, to being in contact with you. That also has something nice about it, right? Okay. And as I said, suddenly you can already tell there's really a lot of speed involved here. And now we have the glue again. Briefly, once again, in short. So what took the longest now, that's also being cut in half, Oops. So in that sense, we're lucky, and it's really a fortunate turn of events for both of you and a positive outcome, because right now is truly a very favorable time for him, and he will make use of this time. Again, so you can really tell there's a lot of activity now, right? Above all, you're being shown optimism again, and also this lightheartedness, that things are moving towards being carefree. And you'll notice through the friendship, the connection between the two of you, that things will keep getting lighter and more carefree. So in that sense, absolutely wonderful. Dear ones, wishing you all the very best from the heart. All the best to you, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.